The only way to get Bitcoin besides buying it directly on exchanges is mining. But mining rigs are expensive, use a lot of electricity and require ongoing maintenance. For most people, mining just isn't affordable. That's exactly why cloud mining emerged. While attending the Bitcoin 2025 conference in Las Vegas, I met the team behind BitFuFu, a publicly traded company that's leading the cloud mining space. BitFuFu allows users to mine Bitcoin without owning or managing physical hardware. I had the opportunity to sit down with Charley Brady, Vice President of Investor Relations at BitFuFu, who explained what makes BitFuFu the most successful company in this niche. Here's what he had to say. Today we'll talk about cloud mining and BitFuFu. But before we start, could you please introduce yourself and tell us about your role at the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Charley Brady. I'm Vice President, Investor Relations for BitFuFu. I obviously head up the investor relations effort here at BitFuFu. Been with the company about a year, and thanks again for having us here. I really appreciate it.
What exactly is cloud mining? What do you guys do?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think the term cloud mining has a lot of different meanings for different people. In the context of BitFuFu, what it really means is we're taking our hash rate. We have 28.3 exahash as of end of April, and we're leasing part of that hash rate out to customers, or renting it, if you will. So think of it as sort of Bitcoin mining as a service. You know, you've heard about software as a service, a SaaS company. This is Bitcoin mining as a service. And so what it does is really, it takes all the upfront cost and complexity out of Bitcoin mining and offloads that and just makes it, just streamlines and simplifies the process.
How long does the setup take for new users?
It's pretty short. You go into the website, you do the KYC, the Know Your Customer background, you input your wallet address, you choose a pool that the mining Bitcoin's going to be come out of, and then you pick how much terahash you want to lease and for what period of time you want to lease it. And then you're mining Bitcoin.
Or it's like 10 minutes?
Yeah, it's 30-ish maybe. It depends on how long the KYC goes, but pretty short time, yeah.
So if I pay for a plan today, what do I actually get? What plans do you have? What would you suggest?
Yeah, I think, and we've got, if you go on the site, what you'll see is we have sort of easy mining, which is a much more simplified process. Then we have, more expanded cloud mining, where there's a lot more choice for someone that's a little more experienced or wants more, more variability in what they want to do. But I think we sell it, and it's a minimum 1 terahash purchase. So that's the lowest you can buy is 1 terahash, and we sell it in durations of 30-day periods. So you get 30, 60, 90, 180 days, 360-day contracts. And so if you go and say I want to buy 10 terahash for 60 days, that's the contract that you can get. And we don't. It really depends on how much terahash you want to buy.
So let's say I have an account. When do I start seeing Bitcoin in my account? Like, do you release?
Immediately.
Like daily?
Yeah, it's the pool pays out daily. Yeah, I think the minimum withdrawal amount is like 0.005 Bitcoin. But it gets paid out. Do
I need to manage anything, or is like automatic?
No, I mean that's what we're doing. We're taking all of that offline. We've got miners on 5 continents and data centers. These are actual real machines in real physical locations, and we do all the behind the scenes, right? We're doing the operations, manning the machines, fix if a machine goes down, maintenance, and we guarantee 95% uptime to the customers in cloud, and we can do that because we've got this network globally. And so, for instance, if even if we had an entire data center go down, which hasn't happened, but if it were, what we would do is take some of the hash rate that we're using for self-mining and slide it over to cloud. And that's what's unique about BitFuFu, is we have this cloud business and the ability to take our total hash rate and slide and allocate it between self-mining and cloud mining dynamically in real time. And so if we found it was going to be a cloud mining customers, we're going to be short on hash rate, we would just automatically just switch from self in the cloud, and from a cloud customer standpoint, they'd never ever see the blip.
Is mining usually more profitable long term?
Yeah, I mean it's a hard question to answer, because it really depends on what difficulty rate it's going to be and what the price of Bitcoin is, right? And it's so Bitcoin's so volatile. But I think it's similar to if you're buying Bitcoin off an exchange. Bitcoin's going to go up, it's going to go down. It really depends on your risk profile and what your internal, your self-target, where you think Bitcoin's going to be longer term. Buying Bitcoin in any form, I think on a short-term basis is it's going to be a lot more volatile than the longer term, right? And we've seen that over time. And cloud mining is really no different. Well, when the cloud mining does allow you to do those, because you can buy it in different durations, you can step in, step out, depending on contract length. It allows you to also dollar cost average down. And so similar to what you do for dollar cost averaging down on a stock, for instance, you can dollar cost average down on Bitcoin and really pick your duration depending on what your own kind of risk profile is. So it's a lot more flexible than just to buy straight off an exchange. And what we've also found is over time, buying dollar for dollar, buying cloud mining versus buying off an exchange, you end up owning more Bitcoin by cloud mining than you would buying it straight off an exchange. So it allows you to, if I have $1,000, I can buy 1,000 Bitcoin off an exchange, or I can take $1,000 and buy $1,000 worth of terahash. And over time, net, that you're going to acquire more Bitcoin with that 1,000 than you would have just buying off the exchange.
Do you believe in 4-year cycle? So you think we'll face a super cycle this time?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. We're really bullish on Bitcoin. And I think what's unique right now is it seems to be a confluence of events coming that's positive for Bitcoin. Right? You've got, number one, you've got greater awareness of it. Number two, you've got a much more, certainly in the US, a much more better regulatory environment, probably the best regulatory environment Bitcoin's ever seen since its existence. You've got companies now adopting treasury strategies for Bitcoin. You've got regulatory environment improving on the banking side that's making it a little bit more stable and giving them certainty on the banking side. And I think that's going to draw more in. So I think there's a lot of different factors that really point to a longer term cycle and a pretty positive cycle for Bitcoin.
Let's go back to BitFuFu. Are there any extra fees after I pay for the plan?
No, I mean, it's all very transparent. So when you go on the site, you pay as a terahash fee, or a per terahash per day fee. And then there's a service fee that's you pay on a per day basis as well. It's right up front, fully transparent. And beyond that, there's no additional fees.
Where are your mining farms are located?
Yeah, we're in 5 continents. We have, as of end of April of this year, we've got 232 megawatts in the US, 210 megawatts in Ethiopia. We're in Brazil, Paraguay, Indonesia, Finland, and Oman.
You mentioned a few countries, but what kind of energy do you guys use? Is it like eco-friendly, renewable energy?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a mix. I mean, Ethiopia is 100% hydropower. And then we have some sites, some other sites that are hydropower as well. We have some gas sites that are gas-fired. We've also done some pilot projects behind the meter off-grid for flared gas. Again, those are small pilot projects that we're looking at and seeing how the economics work. But I mean, that's if you get the economics right on that, it's great, because instead of flaring the gas off and burning this gas and wasting it, you pipe it into a genset, and the genset powers the miners. And it's essentially almost free electricity, and you're not hurting the environment by burning the gas off. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around. So we're looking at seeing how that plays out, doing some projects there. But it's we're focused on making sure that from an environmental standpoint that we are good stewards of that, and that's an important concept to us. And I think just on an environmental standpoint, I think Bitcoin mining sometimes gets a bad rap on the environmental side because of how much electricity it uses. I think what people maybe miss is the fact that Bitcoin mining data centers can actually be a stabilizing force for the grid. You go down in Texas in the middle of July, everyone's running an air conditioning unit because it's 100-something degrees. That grid's going to peak out, but they've got mining farms that have curtailment agreements where they've agreed to, if the utility says, hey, we need more power, the mining farms will shut down the miners and sell that electricity back into the grid. So it's almost like a peak demand surplus energy source. So instead of crashing the grid and having blackouts, you've got this kind of backup power, if you will, from the mining sites if it's needed. And I think that definitely provides more stabilization of the grid. So it's I think that's from an environmental standpoint, that's maybe something that gets overlooked sometimes.
A lot of cloud mining sites have turned out to be scams. Why should users trust BitFuFu?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's kind of one of the reasons I really don't like the term cloud mining, because just what you said, it's kind of a nebulous term. People don't know what it means. But I would say that number one is the transparency that we give to the customer. Right? You can see what you're mining in real time. The fact that we actually have physical mining machines that are at physical locations, And we're a NASDAQ listed company, so we're regulated by the SEC. We file audited financial reports every year. So there's I think a greater degree of certainty around that than some of these early Ponzi schemes that have been out there, where there were no machines. It was just kind of the new money paying off the old money, and it was nothing was being mined. And that's why we're really adamant about making sure that we've got that transparency, everything's up front, because we want to make sure people understand that this is not, this is for real, and it's actually tangible assets that we have, not just some kind of made up asset.
And how many retail users do you have on the platform?
We've got 600, a little over 612,000 registered users. Now, they're not all mining Bitcoin at the exact same time. We don't publicly disclose how many active users we have at any one spot in time, but and the majority of our cloud mining revenue is institutional revenue. So in terms of number of accounts, of that 612,000 plus, the majority of those are retail accounts, but from a revenue standpoint, in dollar terms, it's much more heavily weighted toward institutional revenues for us anyway.
Are they all like US based or global?
Yes. That's a good point. It's actually non-US based. So we currently don't sell cloud mining into the US market. It's something that we're actively looking to do. But the reason we've been really careful about doing that is from a regulatory standpoint. Right? You've got 50 different states plus the US territories. And the last thing we want to do as a US listed company, regulated company, is find out that we missed some rule at some state somehow, and we kind of tripped over ourselves and got us into a bad spot. So we're taking our time, we're making sure we have everything lined up correctly from a regulatory standpoint, and once that's set, I think then we'll start offering that cloud mining service into the US. So all of the growth that we've seen, which has been pretty tremendous on the cloud side, has been without even tapping the US market. So for us, it's really sort of another leg of growth when we can actually mine into the US market.
So you mentioned 600,000 users, retail users.
612,000 registered
How
users.
has BitFuFu grown so fast? What makes it different from other platforms? What's your competitive advantage?
I think the competitive advantage is the fact that we're the largest cloud mining provider globally by a pretty significant margin. And I think the fact that we've got this, our size of our network is an asset. And the fact that we can guarantee this uptime to customers, and then again, back to the transparency, that customers can see in real time what they're mining, and they know that these are real assets, real machines, and real physical locations mining real Bitcoin. And I think that transparency is super key. So it's we've grown tremendously. Quite frankly, a lot of it's really been through word of mouth, and that's a great testament, I think, to the platform. If we look at our recurring revenue, we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 60-70% recurring revenue on contracts. So contract expires, customer goes and buys another contract right away. That's a testament, I think, to the customer loyalty that we've got on the cloud mining side.
Let's talk about security. You have a lot of users. How do you protect the accounts? Like, do you have just a normal 2FA, or do you have something else? Like, what's?
Yeah, and it's when the user signs up for a cloud mining contract, they're putting their own wallet. It's their wallet that they're putting into the system to mine the Bitcoin, right? And so it's not going to some third party or leaving the pool and then going to us and then somewhere else. It's kind of a one-way trip from the pool directly into their wallet. So they're seeing that kind of control, and it's obviously two-factor authorization. And
what kind of support do you have on the platform? Is it like chat support, email support?
Yeah, both of that. So you can talk.
So if I have an issue, I can just instantly get support from the team.
And there's a Telegram account as well.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about BitFuFu?
Yeah, I think from a balance sheet standpoint, we're net cash positive. We ended April. We have 1,908 Bitcoin on our balance sheet. Our HODL strategy is to HODL as much as possible. We will sell on a daily basis enough to cover our hosting costs, and then we'll HODL all the rest of it. So we are long-term believers in Bitcoin. We just want to increase the amount of Bitcoin we have on the balance sheet.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.